Like, he comes in 7th and punts Kyle to 8th. We live? Oh, welcome to the AEKC Championship, guys. We are back. And not only are we back, we're back in Mokina where it all started. Got Justin to the right, James to the left. I'm Donald, Commissioner of AEKC, and we're glad to be here. All right, so let's talk about what's going on right now. We just did some warm-ups. We're going to be practicing today. Going to ask Justin to kind of take us through the events today for qualifying, Justin. So if you want to go ahead and talk about that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so today we got a full day of qualifying. We're going to start out qualifying on Monaco. Everybody's going to get 8 races on each track. So they're doing 16 total races today. Starting out, Group 1 is going to be qualifying first, coming out of lane 1. Group 2 is going to be qualifying second, and Group 3 will be qualifying third. We're really working on making the kart selection completely random, so those lane choices are going to change throughout the day. That way nobody gets the same kart twice. We're really working hard to make sure that happens. So we've got another little warm-up heat to get everything warmed up out here. And again, the drivers are just out here warming up. They're not doing anything special yet. Qualifying will get started here shortly. But yeah, we'll take a look at what they're doing.
Did not yet done a practice race. Please report to the pit at this time. Aaron, Austin, Brad, Caleb, Brandon, and Bailey. Please report to the pit. Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about the groups. So these groups are going to stay the same the whole day. They're not going to change. We're going to keep cycling through everybody. We're going to do the morning session out here on Monaco, take a break, and then we're going to be doing afternoon qualifying on our Le Mans track. James, who are you watching today other than Kyle?
Other than Kyle, I mean, I think somebody that we've seen be pretty successful so far is going to be Alex out of Autobahn Jessup. He's put up some great times here early in practice yesterday, and he had a pretty good showing here in the first practice heat today, so that's definitely a guy you got to look out for.
Yeah, and we also got 2 returning champions, Aaron Luke Ramos, who won our first AEKC championship, and we also have the defending champion, Austin Partolo from Need to Speed out in Reno, who won last year. So you always got to look at the defending champion to see if he's going to be able to hold his own. But I do agree about Alex. He was putting out some great times yesterday. Justin, what did you see yesterday during practices?
So we've got a lot of newcomers that are really, really quick at the top of the board coming out of yesterday. But again, it's practice. Somebody could be sandbagging. Austin was towards the top of the board. Aaron was at the top of the board. But we've got a new driver coming in from Milwaukee, Jason Anderson. He's been very strong, both tracks. For the times that he's been here for practice, so I expect him to put in a pretty good challenge.
Something new this year also, let's talk about, we added a heavy class, so why don't you talk about the heavy class a little bit?
Yeah, so we added a heavy class. You have to be 160 pounds to participate in this weight class. We have 4 drivers that qualify for that. So with the heavy class, they are competing for not only the $10,000 check, but the winner of the heavy class is also going to walk away with $700. With that though, they have to weigh themselves after every single time they're on the track. If they bypass the scales, if they come in less than 160 pounds, they're disqualified for heavy, but they still will be able to compete for the $10,000.
Yeah, so it's something new this year. It was asked for a lot by some of the owners and stuff, so and the racers themselves, so we're really happy to try something new this year. We're also using the new SL karts out of OTL. Really like them. A little bit faster, a little bit shorter wheelbase. So how does that affect the driving compared to the karts that these racers have used before?
So with a shorter wheelbase, the kart's going to be a lot looser on the rear end. So they have to let the kart kind of drive you at the same time. But it's great for both of these tracks because you have tight turns, nice tight hairpins. You allow the kart to rotate around and accelerate out of the corner a lot faster than the storm karts.
Yeah. And And, we're here with James. He's been with us since year one. James, why don't you just talk about the event, talk about league racing in general, what it means to your company and just racing in general.
Sure. Yeah, I think that the AEKC and how it participates in driving just general league business all across the country, not just our business, but there is something about being able to say, come here, win this league, and we'll send you to Chicago in this instance for a chance to win $10,000. And this is one of those things that in regular racing, smaller racing events, dirt racing events, you're not going to find a grand prize like $10,000 like you are here. So these drivers are the best of the best. It's just been a privilege to do this every year. Like you said, we've been here since year one, and it's our favorite event of the year. Our guys look forward to it, to the chance to come out and represent their home track. We have our first new driver since the AEKC started. Caleb, who we're excited to see get his first chance at the AEKC, but it truly just lends itself to the anyone's race mentality, that it can be different every single year. So it's very exciting, and we're thrilled to be here.
Yeah, we're sitting about 8:50. The first real races should go out around 9 o'clock for qualifying. Again, today's going to be a really kind of, I want to say a chill day, but we're not doing position racing today. So, the drivers really need to take that into consideration when they're doing this. I think last year during some of the qualifying, we saw them kind of forget that they were racing for time and not racing for position, and I think some of them kind of, had some issues with qualifying. So again, this is about giving yourself space, getting some clean laps in, and remember, you're not driving against the other drivers, you're going against yourself for the fastest lap time. So, I mean, it doesn't matter where you cross the finish line, it matters about the time on the board. So, Justin, what do you think, if you're with your racing background, what are some of the keys to success out there for getting that?
They really need to think of this like we're back in COVID years. You need to keep a distance between the car in front of you. If you start trying to follow their line or let them manipulate what you're doing, you're not going to get your fastest time. Each driver is going to be different. Don't let them affect what you're doing. Stick to what you know, stick to what you're comfortable with, and push. If you catch up to somebody and they're not letting you pass, slow down. Just sacrifice that one lap to get good, clean times in. If you start stacking up and you get frustrated and you stay there, you're just going to ruin your entire qualifying session.
Yeah, we made some additional changes for last year too. One of the big changes was to the protest. We raised the fee on the protest, so we're not going to have 100 protests at the end of the event like we did last year, which caused an extended period of time. We have our viewpoint cameras from Viewpoint Camera Systems that all the drivers are going to get while they're out here. So we'll have tons of video to be able to review for any potential protests or issues on the track. And again, once again, we have the World Karting Association. We actually have the president, Kevin Williams, and he's got two of his best people coming out, and they're going to be our officiating crew, which is always great. They did a great job last year to kind of keep the heads cool throughout the event. And then we have some other great things going on with Dakota Reed, who put together a really good schedule and plan of events, and we're hosting here at Accelerate Indoor Speedway in Mokina. So again, we're going to be out here all day today, Friday and Saturday morning. If you're local in the area, you should come out. Really great event. You're going to see some really great racing. And then Friday night, we're doing our Blues, Brews, and Barbecue for the drivers after the race. Going to have a blues band here putting on a great show, and we encourage everybody to come out and hang out, see the drivers, meet the drivers, and have fun while we do it. And the man behind the camera, Emil, putting this whole thing together. We always appreciate you, Emil. Talking about the drivers, got a nice list of people here, kind of run through them. We got Aiden LaBelle out of Memphis, Audubon Indoor Speedway.
I think he's actually our youngest driver ever.
13 years old.
13 years old. So, I mean, that's pretty crazy. You talk about, a 13-year-old, competing, for our pro karts, you got to be at least 13. So he's right at that mark and put down some fast times in Memphis. And is out here for his first time, so that's pretty cool. Elise Petty out of Audubon Jacksonville competed last year at her home track. I know there's a lot of eyes on her this year. She is the only female driver competing this year, so expect to kind of see things out of her. Alex out of Audubon Jessup, you talked about earlier, being pretty quick. Our defending champion, Austin Bartolo, out of Need to Speed in Reno. We got Bailey Tolson out of Audubon Indoor Speedway White Marsh up in the Baltimore market. Brad Paquette from Victory Raceway in St. Louis. Brandon Pavo from R1 Indoor Karting out in Providence, Rhode Island. We got Caleb Koskov from this guy's track, Overdrive Raceway out in Colorado Springs. Connor Arabia from Audubon Indoor Speedway up in Palisades Mall, New York. We got Aaron Luke Ramos, champion out of 2018 out of Audubon Indoor Speedway in Dulles, Virginia. Jason Anderson out of Accelerate Indoor Speedway up in Milwaukee. Joe Dombrowski from pole position out in St. Louis. Jonathan Rumpel from Audubon Indoor Speedway in Manassas, Virginia. Colin Grace from Audubon Indoor Speedway in Harrisburg, PA. Matthew Pickle from Three Rivers Karting up in Pittsburgh. Nate Grove from High Voltage Karting out of Medina, Ohio. Teddy Oates from Audubon Indoor Speedway, Birmingham. The hometown favorite, Tony Patterson from right here in Mokina. And rounding out the drivers is Kyle Moore, Overdrive Raceway, again, Colorado Springs. Speaking of Kyle Moore, hey Kyle.
There he is.
Kyle is also our racer liaison this year. Kyle's been doing this since the first year, really has grown as a racer liaison, helping these younger drivers kind of navigate through how to do penalties, how to talk with the officials and things like that. So this year they'll have somebody to kind of bounce some ideas off before deciding to do a protest, making it official so he can kind of help coach them through it. So looking forward to how that works as well.
I expect the drivers to utilize him pretty heavily. $250 for a protest fee. You don't just want to be throwing that kind of money around if you don't really know what you're going for. He's been here all 4 years. He knows what we're looking for. He knows what the WK is looking for. So it'll be very interesting. It'll also be interesting to see if Tony Patterson can overcome that hometown curse. Every time the hometown driver participates, they don't really perform well. Like, they're always outside of the top 5. Let's see if he can break that this year.
Yeah, and I think that's really key because, even last year we had 2 hometown people and they did have their struggles. We haven't had a hometown person win the AEKC, so the people that talk about that home field advantage hasn't really come to be a real thing. So
yeah, I chatted with Tony about that in our drivers' interviews yesterday. And said he felt confident, but there's something to be said about racing these tracks solely in reverse, and something that Tony is not entirely familiar with, but he said he feels very confident coming into the tournament this weekend.
Well, I think also, if you're racing in your home leagues and you might, you're the champion, but it's like you could be really good in college and then you're coming out to the pros. Everybody here's a champion, so it's the fastest racer, the best racer from every location, so it really changes the dynamic.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to get their welcome to the AEKC rookie moment.
We had the WK officials out here watching the warm-ups, starting to learn. That's the other thing, too. They're going to be learning the drivers today during qualifying. They're going to look for those rule enforcements and talk to the drivers about what they saw during qualifying. That way we can make sure the drivers are prepared each morning. Long day of racing. We really changed the format this year to give more racing. The split format, doing racing all day. The drivers also have a lot more opportunities to earn points this year versus last year once we get into pole racing. So really interested to see this new format. Drivers are doing a lot more driving this year, so should be a really, really great event.
Yeah, your driver Caleb said he did 54 races yesterday. Had to buy some lidocaine spray for his palms.
I had heard you say that to me this morning, and that's one of those things too. Elise, another great example, has been here for almost 10 days getting racing in advance, so a lot of dedicated drivers out here, and we're going to see if that makes a difference. There's some drivers that just showed up yesterday. There's drivers that have been here for a few days, and like you said, 50 some odd races before the tournament even begins I couldn't do it. Well,
the other thing too, out of the competing AEKC tracks, I believe there's only 3 locations that have the new SL karts. So, not only just the track, but drivers having to learn how to drive these new karts. A lot of them are using a variety of the OTL karts. Majority of them using the Storms, which are, a couple generations out. But, shorter wheelbase, kart handles differently. All those things come into, so there's people coming out early. Got to get used to the track, got to get used to the karts, how they're going to operate.
But they also have to strike a balance.
Yeah.
Are you going to overdo it in practice and then be wore out for when it actually counts? So it'll be interesting to see who overdid it yesterday and who's going to dominate today, because they found that balance.
Yeah, I tell you what though, these new SL karts, I do love them. they're fast, and they're fun to drive. I had the opportunity to drive them, and they're a fantastic kart. It definitely feels a lot different than the old karts. That you're going to have a little bit tighter steering, but you really get good control of that kart. Overall, what are your thoughts on the SLs when you've had an opportunity to drive them?
I really do love the SLs. I always prefer to be on the looser side, let the car kind of rotate itself through the corners, so this is right up my alley. Overall, the kart just feels more controlled. You know what the kart's going to do. It's more reliable, very consistent, stronger acceleration out of the corners. There's not really a bog down like you get with the OTLs if you mess up, so there's a lot more forgiveness in these karts versus the Storms.
Yeah, and Kart One, Sakamoto tires, really great sponsors. We also have Club Speed. Why don't you talk a little bit about Club Speed and the timing? Because I know the technical piece of the timing system is always great, and Club Speed's a great partner. They're our POS provider, and they also do the timing loop system. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
So yeah, everything that you guys are going to see on the live stream today with that scoreboard, that's custom development that we've done using Club Speed API that they give to every single one of their customers. It's part of your package. But all of their timing is down to the thousandth of a second. It's a multi-venue PO or a multi-activity and venue management system. So you got bowling, laser tag, escape rooms, arcade, karting. They can handle all of that one singular system. You don't have to have multiple things. They also have a great online booking system that's highly customizable. So they're ready to fill any need that you have.
Yeah, and going back to Kart One and OTL, they have a variety of karting products. Whether you're competition side like us, really laser focused on that. They also have more of the recreational karts for your family fun centers, dual karts as well. And then really cool is the hand control karts that all of our centers have. I know your center started it for mobility, so they have hand controls, which is a really cool function as well. I know you guys do a lot of that out in Overdrive. You want to kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I mean, this is something that Kart One and ourselves, and I know you guys as well have worked together very closely on, and really making this sport for as many people as possible. I think that's everybody's goal, is get as many people to love the sport as possible, like we do. So yeah, we've been fortunate enough to have hand control karts for people without the use of their legs, gas and brake are sitting up on the steering wheel, and they perform just like any of the other karts. So they are of the Storm model. But they perform, getting up to the same speeds as those. So anybody who's able to find one of our tracks that offers that type of specific type of activity may be going there and expecting to watch, expecting to sit on the sideline. And I think all of us as a whole are really trying to make sure that that's not the case. We also have a two-seater kart, the Duo kart. Which is great for a wide variety of abilities. Mm-hmm. Anybody who just physically does not either have the strength or ability to drive a kart by themselves, either with the regular karts or with the hand control karts as well. It's something where somebody can drive you around, and you can still interact, still hit the gas, use the brakes, steer the kart, and still participate again at those top speeds. So it doesn't feel like anything's being hindered by any of the products that we've got out there. So it's been, like I said, an absolute privilege to be able to open that up to as many people as possible.
Yeah. It's also a really powerful moment to see somebody who's been limited and not have that freedom just open up and experience that for themselves, at Overdrive or anywhere else you go. And it's a very powerful moment. Yeah,
there's a humanitarian aspect to what we do and wanting people to be able to experience this for the first time or experience it on a recurring basis. And there's something to be said about going up to somebody that is feeling that way, that, hey, this is just not for me. I'm just not going to be able to do this. And ourselves or any other tracks that offer that you say, no, yes, you can. This is absolutely for you. You can enjoy the sport just as we have and as it was intended. So, we've for us at Overdrive, speaking out to any tracks that don't do this at this point, it is not a huge moneymaker, but at the same time, getting that door open to so many other people that think that they
can't put a price on
do something that you really can't. You really can't. We don't charge for any of that stuff. Of people book ahead of time with us, and we just let them come out and have a good time. And we have developed a lot of lifelong customers that have come out, working with a lot of groups with disabilities. Wounded Warrior is a great example of that as well, that has come out and utilized our facility. So you're right. It's priceless to be able to do that.
So great sponsors. Also, we'd like to just continue to use this time to shout out our sponsors. But you notice a lot of green, a lot of Monster colors. Got to shout out Monster, who's been with us since year one. This is the AEKC Championship powered by Monster. So we really appreciate everything that they do to help support us throughout the event. We also have Proforma. Proforma's they can do everything. They do a lot of our merchandise, so the shirts we're wearing, the shirts that our officials and even our drivers are wearing. Speaking of the shirts, you'll notice too, find your favorite driver. They're all wearing different colored shirts. I think Kyle's in pink, hot pink.
Yeah, somebody did that on purpose. He's been a big fan of it though, so it's worked out for him.
I didn't hear him complaining about it. In fact, I think I heard he said he was giving it to his girlfriend because she loves the AKC. So
shout out big shout out.
Got a shirt on the way home. But yeah, you use the shirt, so it makes it a little bit easier to find your favorite racer. So they're going to wear that colored shirt the whole time through the AEKC. So figure out their shirt color. That's an easy way for you to spot them on the track. We're going to, shout out to Proforma, though. Again, they provided all of that wonderful stuff for us as a sponsor. They've been with us since year one as well.
Another touch on the shirt color thing. When you guys are looking on the live stream and we're showing you the positions, the background color of your driver is going to match the shirt that they are wearing identically. So it's easier for you guys at home that are watching just to keep up with everybody on the track and see them on the scoreboard.
And they do a wide variety of things. They're kind of a one-stop shop. They do shirts. They also do all the fun logoed stuff that you might need for your business. So reach out to Proforma. They could really, really take care of you. They've been a great sponsor for us all these years. Also, Gallagher Insurance, for any of my friends out there in the FEC business. They provide insurance. Really great people. They've been with us for a few years now. And then the karting industry, they do a great job. We got a little bit more, looks like, warm-up laps on the final karts here. But Viewpoint cameras as well. If you want to talk about Viewpoint, they're one of our sponsors as well.
Yeah, so Viewpoint cameras are an action camera system. They're good for anything, whether you want to fight a bear in Siberia, you want to go ziplining through the Grand Canyon, there's all kinds of good stuff you can do with Viewpoint videos because, every action moment, you want to be able to repeat that with your friends. And it's one of those videos or it didn't happen moment. Viewpoint's got your back. We're going to be using the Viewpoint videos this week, especially to make some of those tough calls, those close decisions that happen in live time on the track. We'll be able to replay it after the race and get into the nitty-gritty details with both the drivers and the officials and say, here's why we made this decision, and show them in actual live time, here's why we made this decision. So Viewpoint videos are great for all your action needs. Very easy camera system, great guys to work with, really quick and responsive for any issues. If you need systems, again, fantastic guys to work with.
Like I said, we're just finishing up practice here. I think there's only 3 on the track. This is probably our last warm-up race before getting into qualifying.
It looks like they just missed a few karts out there, so got some of the guys working here to accelerate to get out and have some fun on the track.
Let me tell you what, if you're local, it's a fun job. Always looking to hire great people. In fact, if you're near a karting center and you're looking for a fun job, everybody that we're involved with here at the AEKC runs a great facility and they'd love to have you. We like to have fun. I mean, how can you have a bad day at work when you can jump into a go-kart and get on the track and put down some fast laps? It's really hard. So love it. Reach out to any of your local facilities. Also, if you're just wanting to get into karting, a lot of people forget. You talk to a lot of drivers, in F1 or even NASCAR, they will tell you they got started in a go-kart in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's an indoor electric place like us, indoor gas, outdoor gas, they got started in a kart. It's very accessible, to start, especially centers like ours where you can just come in and join one of our leagues and kind of go through this. You want to speak on that a little bit, Just? I know you've been in that world a little bit, but
yeah, I would rather come in and spend $450, $500 to run an 8-week league versus going out and spending $500 to $1,000 every single weekend to race. It costs you easily for a brand new setup. Just for a karts, tires, and motor, you're looking at $4 grand right there by itself. That's not even getting into entrance fees, everything that goes into it. So, great entry-level sport. If you're wondering if you can do it, leagues are the best way to do it. You have the best drivers in your city racing in leagues consistently. You know, we've had a lot of people in Jacksonville specifically been racing in leagues since we've been open in 2014. Every single league season, consistently. So, a great community, great camaraderie. If you do branch out into the race world, most of those league people that you race with are going to help you in your actual racing.
Yeah, we've had people that have been racing with us now, doing other things over in Europe, doing F3, doing electric racing of different styles overseas. So this could be really a kickstart for some of these racers out here, and it's anyone's race. Which, speaking of, if you really want to know more about the AEKC and why we do what we do, go to Amazon Prime and look up anyone's race. I think it costs $1 to watch it, but it's a 30 minutes behind-the-scenes story featuring, Overdrive Raceway and some of our other great tracks where we talk about this being anyone's race, which, we've coined that since the beginning because really it is anybody's race. Anybody can show up, and win this thing. The karts are the same. The balance is the same. The drivers are different, but anybody, it's really open to anybody.
We've done it 4 times. We've had past champions. We've had repeat winners, but we've never had a repeat champion.
No, we have not.
We have not. It's only been 4 years, but we have yet to have a repeat champion. Maybe Austin or Aaron changes that this weekend, but the competition is pretty stiff, so we'll see if they can pull it through.
All right, so I think I saw Mr. Dakota Reed coming over there looking. I think he's preparing to get the drivers going. So going to have a little bit of downtime here while we wait for the drivers to get set up. Again, everything that, as far as kart selection, row selection, it's all random. The drivers, that way, no one's picking their own kart. Nobody can say it's unfair. It's going to be just completely randomized. We're going to do, one of the other changes we made this year is we have one of our team members that's solely focused on points throughout the race. So we're going to be able to give a lot faster updates to racing points and where standings are, hopefully in between heats is our goal. So another big change.
Yeah, that way, A, the racers don't have to wait for it. B, the folks at home don't have to wait to see what the points are. As soon as the racers come off the track, points are going to be updated. Maybe even before they come off the track, they'll be working on them. We'll see.
All right. Well, again, we got 2 past champions competing this year. Really interested to see, does that pressure get to Austin? Can he be a repeat guy out there? It's really good. You talk about this $10,000, and we've talked to some of the racers that have used this for personal. Just put it in savings and hold on to it. I think when you talked to Aaron the one year, he just put it in savings or whatever. Whether that was true now, but I know Austin, won last year. We had people, other racers have won that have helped fund their racing, outside racing career. So the money's going to go to a good cause for them and hopefully help them, do what they want in life. Hopefully, get that racing career started.
Yeah, I asked a number of drivers about that, and not one of them had any extravagant answers.
Oh, that's good.
I'm going to invest. Oh, did you hear one?
Yeah, Tony said he gets $10,000. Him and his wife are going to have a lot more fun. So that was the best answer I heard.
There you go. That's
10 grand.
An unlimited answer, really.
10 grand's a ton of money. Again, there's not many racing series like ours giving out a $10,000 check every year. So my favorite part is being able to do that. Pop some sparkling water and douse them while we hand them a $10,000 check. So that'll happen late Saturday morning, early afternoon. Once everything's tabulated, we'll be giving out checks. It's going to be a really great time. We're going to have a lot of exciting racing. 2 days of position racing. We asked you guys kind of watch. We'll have a lot of reminders on Facebook. You can find us on the AEKC Facebook page.
It's also the first year we're doing it on YouTube. So
and on YouTube, yeah. We're getting fancy with it. Technology's great. Emil's doing a great job behind the scenes to make this happen. We had driver introductions yesterday, which was fun. My favorite one, of course, your guy Kyle, if you guys hadn't seen that, decided to cartwheel his way in. Hopefully he's cartwheeling on the winner's podium later today.
If you could call it a cartwheel, that's...
maybe a half
wheel. He went all out to the best of his ability.
It was a half wheel with a lot of joint pain.
There was. He popped a couple of aspirin after that, and he said he's feeling good though. Today he's feeling ready to go.
He walked past and he's like, I haven't tried that in 30 years.
How many of these guys could say that they've tried anything in more than 30 years ago?
Kyle.
I think it's just Kyle. None of the rest of the competition was born yet.
Glad I don't have to go back to Colorado Springs. His wife or his girlfriend might fight you.
I'm not afraid of her. She's a nice lady. She's very nice, and she's a big fan of the competition, so there's no way.
Group 1,
We are calling Group 1, guys.
Group
So
1, Aiden, Elise,
this is going to be our
Alex,
first.
Austin, Bailey, Brad, Brandon for Group 1, first race.
Sorry, there's a speaker behind us, so we have to pause every now and then. But this is the first official qualifying race for the AEKC. I heard Elise's name in that first one, so we're going to get to see her. I heard Bailey Tolson as well. Did not. Here we got the list right here. So our first group, we got Aiden from Memphis, Elise out of Jacksonville, Alex out of Need to Speed. So we'll have our repeat champion coming out first. See how see how he puts down.
That's Alex. That's from Jessup.
Sorry.
Austin. It is
Austin, my bad.
They're both there, though.
They are both there.
Austin out of Need to Speed. Alex is from Jessup. But you were excited about him seeing the laps he put down yesterday.
Absolutely.
Bailey Tolson out of White Marsh. Brad from Victory Raceway. And finishing out Group 1 is Brandon from R1.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what Bailey can do. He's been pretty strong in the last 2 AEKCs. Some pretty unfortunate mistakes that he's made in the finals that have really put him out of the points, but he's always in the mix. If he can just calm down on that final day and not get too aggressive, I think we're going to see some strong movement out of him this year.
Yeah, I think we had a smaller field than last year. We were doing makeup, so we had 43 drivers, I think, last year.
A lot.
So we had a lot of people going. It was a lot. So I think the smaller fields, more racing that they're going to have. I think in years past, if you messed up one series, you really could have put yourself out. So I think the extra racing they're going to get, hopefully it'll kind of keep smoother heads, will prevail here.
Yeah, especially on the final day.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to make a mistake, make it on day 1. That way you know where you stand. But coming into the final day when everything's still up in the air, that is not a good time to make mistakes because it could ruin everything that you put in work for.
And with these qualifying too, it's going to be nice. So Group 1 has 7 racers in it, and then the other 2 groups have 6. So again, qualifying, space yourself out, give that breathing room. Good thing is you only need one really great lap. So you just get a feel for the track, warm up those first few laps, and then put down that fast time. But I think that's just going to be key. It's going to be really interesting to see how they come out and race. Do they get out? Do they bunch up? Do they forget that they're racing for time and try to race against each other? So hopefully Dakota has reminded them. I'm sure he has, just going to give that breathing room.
Well, even reminders, they're very competitive people. They see a cart in front of them, they want to catch it, they want to pass it. But today is not the day to do that. You have to keep those urges, you got to keep those voices quiet today. Do your own thing. This is an individual performance today. It's not about how you measure up to everybody else except on the lap times. But you got to do your own thing.
I think you'll probably see out in the qualifying time you might see the point by a few times. If people start getting jammed up, you start getting 2, 3, 4 carts backed up. You might see some passing, but I totally agree with you. Trying to keep yourself in open space. These are going to be smaller races than what some of these guys had dealt with yesterday, typically running in full 10-person races. So especially as we get into groups 2 and 3, plenty of room out on the track to make it your own. I think another guy to watch out for, though, Brandon from R1 has a huge crowd here. I heard it during the racer introductions.
Oh yeah.
R1 went all out, sending some of their team out here in support of Brandon. So we'll see if the in-person cheering section has any impact as well.
Well, that's a call out, for all of the folks local here to Mokina. The R1 crew was just as loud as the hometown Tony Patterson crew. So if you guys are here in Mokina, come out, show some support, show some love to your people. It's definitely going to be a good time today. And we got great food at Victory Lap. We got cold drinks. Great competition.
Check with the meal. Just make sure Emil's ready. That was Dakota checking in. Sorry, it looks like he is ready to go. We're just going to make sure that all of our cameras are ready to catch the action. So I expect that we will be starting here soon. So I'm excited. I always like the first race. It always feels good. Stressful week leading up to it, but then we get to see some great racing, and I'm always a huge fan of that. See some qualifying. I think this is going to set the tone. I'm just really interested to see how all the drivers, get it and get the qualifying done, how they're feeling afterwards. They've had a lot of chances to race. Like I said, somebody raced 54 races. That's crazy. So now it's just time. And I see drivers coming out.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
So
I'm ready to go.
First group is out, guys. Again, we're going to come around. We're going to get warmed up here on that lap.
You may think that the week leading up to it's stressful. First race is always stressful for me because this is a lot of pent up energy. They're ready to go. Again, they're going to